From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
SoFloRadio.com presents Catherine B. and the Echo Revolution, a call to action for those who know things need to change. From what connects us to nature to how we eat and live, every choice we make can create symbiotic living on Earth. Green consciousness is a revolutionary shift in paradigm to heal our planet and our personal well-being in this generation. Be a part of the shift that is happening. And now, here's Catherine B.
Welcome to the Echo Revolution. On today's show, I need everyone to join us as green comrades because we got a war going on. Yay! And I have my wonderful guest, Angeila, who's going to take on canning and use it as a tool of the revolution. We have had a rough week for all of you guys that march against Monsanto and all of you that realize that our food is our culture, our food is our life. Our food is now being taken over by chemical companies. And what chemical companies have to do with food just blows me away. They are now, check this out, calling themselves farmers. And we lost in Congress, and we are losing with our puppeteering powers that be. So the revolution is going to be fought by you guys picking up a fork, picking up a garden seed, planting an organic plant, and making every choice off the grid, okay? You can go to any store and you can buy your commercial food, but if we cannot in America know the labeling of what that food is, we're stuck. And 64 other countries have already said that we need to know what we're buying. As consumers, we have a right, but not here. It's not going to fly. And I don't want to be doom and gloom, as I always say. I just want us to win this revolution by taking it into our own hands. So one of the things that I want you to know are who the players are in this big six. So we've all heard of them, and we use them all the time. But it is Dow Chemical, the largest chemical company in the United States. They gave us napalm, nerve gas in World War II, and they have been avoiding the deaths from poisoning incidences of over 250 people. We have DuPont, started with gunpowder and explosive company, and they are now one of the top, both of them, Dow and DuPont, got rated the top 5 air polluters in 2013, one of the top 5. We have Syngenta. How would you say that? Syngenta?
Syngenta? Syngenta.
Syngenta.
Yeah.
Okay. Syngenta makes the most highly dangerous pesticide, and these are the ones that are killing our bees. I've got bees at home, so I really don't like these guys. We have BASF. They were the financial core of Hitler's regime. They gave us the biggest chemicals of the Nazi extermination camps. And then we have our favorite, Monsanto. Founded as a drug company, was the first to produce saccharin, which we all know now has given us cancer, and DDT, which, if anyone has read Silent Spring, we realized 50 years ago the ramifications of these companies. Now they're calling the Big Six transition corporations, and they have a right to farm. They have a right, if all of the legislators agree to this, to say that they're farmers. And they only hurt the real farmers that are bringing us real food. So our entire food is now in the hands of the top 6 chemical companies. And the only thing that we can do is to get over the conformity of thinking that we cannot grow. And this brings us to my hero, Thomas Kuhn. Thomas Kuhn in 1962 said and proved that if we can shift our consciousness and perception of what is important to the human existence, we can then, through a series of peaceful interludes punctuated by intellectually violent revolutions of the mind, in those revolutions, one conceptual worldview is replaced by another. And that's what we need. That's what we need this generation to take back for the next generations: control of our food, control of our power as consumers, and control of our health, and then ultimately the environment. Right? So, are you guys, do you think you can farm? Do you think you can grow?
I'm scared. I'm scared.
I can grow herbs. That's what my condo would allow right now.
Come on, green comrades. I saw the deer look. It was like deer in the headlights.
I'm ready to try again.
Well, here's what I'm feeling right now. Can I do a war cry? You're talking about revolution. Can I do it?
Yes.
How's that? Let's do it.
Yes. All right. We need a war cry. We do. That was amazing. Amazing. Can we record that again? No. All right. So the war cry comes to this. Stop. Okay. Revolutionary tip from last week. Stop drinking water. Revolutionary tip this week. Stop shopping. Okay. I want you to look at this strange little plant right here. This is a moringa plant. We live in Miami. Moringa. Moringa, actually. I'm terrible with the names. Anybody in South Florida can grow this in their front yard. You buy a dehydrator, and this is one of the most nutritionally sound foods on the planet. All of this talk about genetically modified food and all these chemicals needed, it's not true. We simply need to see food differently. We need to see this tree as food. We need to see algae as food. We need to stop thinking that we have to go shop and buy these outrageously expensive food products to be food. There's so many other things we can do, so many byproducts, so many leaves, nuts, fruit that we're not even thinking about eating. And once we start seeing food differently, changing our conception, making the shift happen, from the traditional commercial foods where you go to the stores and you buy what you buy to eating things that we grow ourselves, amazing stuff will happen. We'll save money. We will be able to control what goes into our children. And then we will be able to share the abundance. Like Angela's going to show us later how when if you get 100 mangoes or whatever fruit, how to can it, how to save it, how to not spend that money at the stores and stop shopping for our food. So before we get into Angela's beautiful work, I just want to go back to this Big Six, because the other situation we have with these people is the seeds. So again, a lot of you follow me with the blog and the March Against Monsanto, but now each one of these Big Six companies are going into the $50 billion in sales seed companies. And these seeds, they cannot be reproduced. Farmers cannot be reproduced, these seeds are controlled and owned by these Big Six companies. And when this happens, it puts all of us in peril, and it puts the plants in peril. Fruit needs their seeds. Watermelons need to have seeds. We can make each plant a little bit more flavorful. We can do some hybrid engineering, but when you start doing genetic engineering, it's like doing heart surgery with a shovel, and we don't know the ramifications of what this is doing to us. But we do know that farmers are in peril, and these people, these transitional companies, they are calling themselves farmers.
We're getting closer and closer to not having any clue about what's in our food anymore, especially now that the Safe and Accurate Food Labeling Act of 2015 just passed the Agriculture Committee and is now heading to the House floor. Because what the bill does is it blocks states from imposing their own laws that would make it mandatory to label food for GMOs. In other words, on a federal countrywide level, the Safe and Accurate Food Labeling Act outlaws mandatory GMO labeling. Instead, the bill wants to make GMO labeling a voluntary thing. Let's just leave it up to the food makers to decide whether or not they want to label for GMOs. So in other words, we're getting closer to never knowing when we eat GMO food. Now, when Obama was campaigning, he promised to let folks know when their food had been genetically modified. But Congress is feeling pretty confident that the president will sign this bill into law in the fall. And if he does, it will overturn mandatory GMO labeling laws already passed in Vermont, Connecticut, and Maine. So, there's a hot debate going on right now about this, with opponents calling the bill the Denying Americans the Right to Know, or DARK Act. Others are calling it the Monsanto Protection Act on steroids, since the agri-giant has such a vested interest in the bill. So whenever an issue is being debated so heatedly, it's good for people to access information from all sorts of places, both in support of and against, so that they can be best informed. Which is why it makes it so crazy that Facebook has actually blocked thousands of users from posting information against this bill. Prominent health writer Anthony Gucciardi actually took a screenshot of Facebook blocking him from posting a story from naturalsociety.com called "Congress Could Soon Ban GMO Labeling Under New Bill." Facebook clearly told him that the post was blocked by their security systems, but gave no reason. Now, I'm not going to try to say GMO labeling is good or bad right now. I'm just going to say that Facebook blocking information from one side of the table is obviously bad, especially because Facebook is right now trying to own the news. And about 60% of its users actually get their news from Facebook. And they're encouraging news outlets to publish on Facebook instead of their own sites. So Facebook is clearly making a play to control the news right now. But when they block information about GMO labeling and Monsanto, it's got to make you wonder who exactly is controlling Facebook. Tonight, let's talk about that.
So, we got the big six, and now we got Facebook. I mean, we have to, again, take this back into our own hands. And we cannot let the media control us. And it's just really, really unfortunate that this is happening and that the more information is out there. But if they open up these labeling laws, for example, we're talking about vegetables and corn, but we're also talking about them putting sugar in milk and not labeling it. And with the health crisis that we have in this country, to allow more sugar, to allow more of these plants that are valueless. I mean, yes, they still have, broccoli still has certain phytonutrients and phytochemicals, but what people don't realize is that when we're genetically modifying food, we are destroying the soil's ability to give that plant nutrients. And so we have to eat so much more food just to not feel hungry. And we're always in a state of constant hunger because these GMO foods are not giving us what we need. So get yourself to the garden. And one thing I'd like to mention is that we're going to be doing a garden class, and Angela is going to be showing us Canning 101. It's our first Beehive event this Wednesday, the 29th, and the address is going to be, okay, I'll give that to you actually at the end of the show. But it's in on 6th Avenue and about 118th in North Miami Beach. And it's a permaculture garden, a house that's been developed. It's completely sustainable. This house is built with solar, with water tanks underground, with crystals in its foundation. This house is just
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. It is incredible. So we're going to do a tour of a sustainable home, and then you're going to do this wonderful Canning 101.
I'm excited.
In the
Very
kitchen.
excited.
And tell me what to do with all my star fruits and all my food. And then we will also be doing a garden tour of, like I said, plants like this that you can eat, like simple plants you would never think of that you can eat. And anybody including you two, can grow.
Include me in that. You three. I look for free fruits and vegetables, growing them. I need your help.
Well, and that's the thing, just be open to it. Actually, Joan is going to join us from Tower Gardens, but she's running a little bit late. So why don't we start... we'll talk about how to grow the food and then can it. That's how I was going to do it. But let's talk about canning first. Why not?
Why not?
So can I tell them a little bit about you, my dear?
Sure.
We have a famous chef in the house here. Angeila Golden Bryan's passion for food has led her to being a correspondent for the Lifetime TV show Kitchen Spaces, where she prepared meals on screen for Glory Foods, Celebration Foods, and the Farm Fresh Company. I love the food channels, by the way. I go crazy. I'm such a foodie. She also co-starred on Food Network show Simply Delicio as a foodie. Other on-screens include her role as a culinary on-air guest for the Home Shopping Network, where she prepares menus and demonstrates meal preparation. As a food chef, Angeila enjoys teaching people how to incorporate fun. I love fun.
Got to be fun.
It's got to be fun or it's not worth doing. Easy, tasty, and sexy raw food into their existing diets. I like that, sexy raw food. What does that mean?
Raw is the new sexy.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Angeila is an award-winning actress, a speaker, and I know a fantastic life coach. She has given me a couple phone calls that have just rocked my world, and I consider her a very good friend too. And she is also the CEO of Total Transformation with ABG, as well as the president of the Fort Lauderdale chapter of Health and Wellness Network of Commerce. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yeah, we're.
Hey, it's only a 1 hour show. Come on, can we?
I know.
Well, I'd like to thank the Academy. Oh, wrong show. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, well,
how did you get into this? And you're a mom. How many children do you have?
I have 2 kids, a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old.
All right.
And they're to the stage now where they can actually be helpful. I love it.
Well, and this is why I wanted you on the show. We had Val last week who's dealing with a young baby, but you're doing it all. And that's why I want to inspire people to be able to grow and cook and do it all. So tell us more. Tell us why you got into cooking. And tell us your story, Morning Glory.
Okay. Well, very briefly, because I was just told we don't have that much time. Briefly.
He was only kidding.
Is you mentioned as you were talking earlier that often there is a health crisis, and I don't know if I should say unfortunately or fortunately, I was brought to healthy, clean food preparation and cooking because of my health. I started having health problems. It was just horrible. I won't even go into all the details, but someone was wonderful enough to tell me if I did not change my eating, to stop eating all the refined processed food, to stop eating so much dead food.
Genetically modified food-like products that they shouldn't even be called food.
So it's like eating plastic. Basically, I was eating plastic and thinking I was doing great stuff like margarine, and we won't even get into all of that. I know better now. But that's what happened for me is I found out that I was slowly killing myself with the standard American diet. Very, very sad. And
You're not alone. It's what's happening all over.
It is so true. But my personality, I need to have fun. You know me enough to know that it has to be fun for me. And so I started looking at how could I make eating healthy fun. I became a certified raw food chef, and they showed me gourmet food. They showed me tasty food, raw food, pies. I started dehydrating and making things that would ordinarily seem difficult. They just made it easy and fun. And we used the word sexy earlier. And that made it real for me because I needed those things in order for it to be sustainable for me. Okay. If it's boring, if it's overly the top, because I tend not to want to get into too many details, but I love it. Absolutely love it.
When I teach my 8-week diet course, it's based on the pleasure principle because you are not going to do something. We love pleasure. And if it's not pleasurable, we can do it for 2 weeks. We can do it for a month, but we're not going to continue, right?
So true.
George, I'm sure you agree.
Why? Why are you looking at me?
No, and that's exactly what you're saying.
Yes. So that started me on my journey for looking at clean foods. And as you talked about the different political scenarios, I'm sitting here with my mouth open thinking, oh my goodness, all of that's going on. I hear bits and pieces.
And it's being covered up.
Oh.
That's the worst thing. That's what gets me. This is why this is a revolution. I know I should be all light and fuzzy and loving it all, but I get so angry because people are trying to do the right thing and they're misled, and even by their own government. This is America.
Wow.
This is just shameful when it comes to our food, because the whole world looks at us. And 64 other countries can do it, and we can't, and we're still lying to our consumers and covering it up. But don't get me started. Back to you.
Well, I was certainly educated as I listened to what you had to say, and the amount of passion and research that it takes to be able to bring this information to people like me, who kind of like, no, let's go can. Let's go find free fruit and vegetables. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's, like I said, it's really, you think you're doing the right thing. You see a beautiful tomato and you find out that it's got all this craziness, but it looks just like the organic. So, of course, you're going to pick the one that's more economical.
Cheaper. Yeah.
So it's a big issue.
And that started, I love a bargain. I absolutely love a bargain. And for me, a bargain is my friend with the mango tree that says, Angela, I have pounds and pounds of mangoes and don't know what to do with them. So I've only been canning for a little over a year now. I had always wanted to learn how to can, and I was at an event and I was talking to someone and she says, oh, I can. I was like, please teach me. Her family had been canning for generations. That's all they knew.
Did.
Yeah, that's all they did.
George is from a canning family.
That's very exciting. I was so impressed to find that out. So I'm starting it. My family has no interest in it. So I'm thinking in my family it may skip a generation or something. But that's how I started, is wanting to learn how to do it and having excess fruit. And how many smoothies am I going to be able to make? And living here in South Florida, what happens when the electricity goes off and they're all in my freezer?
Right.
So the idea of canning was very appealing to me.
And I love it because didn't you say, how long did you say that canned products can last?
Well, as I started doing my own research, because my girlfriend who does it, she says, she's so sweet. I want Sandy, if you're listening, yes, I am going to imitate you.
Hey, Sandy.
oh, this is another Sandy coming. Oh, this is another Sandy. She's so sweet. She's like, Angela, we have canned goods for 10, 20 years, and we open them up, and they're still good. Now, that's not necessarily. I love Sandy, so I'm doing this in love. They can last forever and ever. However, recommended time is usually about a year. But most families I find that have been canning, they have their products that they can boast have been sitting on their shelves for years, and they'll break them out, dust them off, and they're still good.
Well, so for you raw foodies out there, I'm sure that some people are like, what about the live enzymes? And
yes.
We'll get into all that. But
Yes.
what I love about canning is that it creates a craft that's being lost.
Yes.
I mean, Ms. Sunset was like, what is canning, right?
Yeah, I had no idea. I was like, what?
Here are two of the cans. But it also recycles, and it also gets us off the grid. We're not relying on electricity.
Yes.
So,
and having prepared so many raw foods and understanding the value of the enzymes and eating most of my food raw, initially I did think about, you're cooking these things to death. However, originally canning was created so that people could have access to all the fruits and vegetables when they would not be in season. So rather than starve, they would pull it out, and our bodies are absolutely wonderful. And I think it's great. It makes wonderful gifts also. People love to have a gift. It's a homemade gift. You can decorate the jar. My jars are not decorated, as you notice. I didn't get around to that, but that would be another aspect. It's about bonding. It's about community. Have a bunch of people over, right, George?
Yes.
Well,
Canning parties.
and also,
Canning parties.
I think too, like you just really touched on a new thing. One of the greatest conveniences of living in this modern time is that we have kiwis from Australia and we have food from all over the world. So we're so spoiled and thinking, I can always have a strawberry. But in the old days, if you got pickled watermelon out of season in the middle of winter, that was like a real celebration. So it also brings back this wholesomeness to how we see food. Yes. And again, those kiwis coming from Australia take a lot of fossil fuel to get them here. So there's a statement that you're making when you're canning, and there's a culture to it. And so it might not be like well, it's still fresh and the vitamins are still there, but it's a different kind of way to see food. Yes. And I love it. I think it's fascinating. And it's also really like this jam. We're going to be making the fruit jams at the Beehive event this Wednesday. The cooking class starts at 7:30 for about an hour and a half. So this is the jam. We all have to taste this before you leave. Okay.
Definitely. and we talked about the enzymes, but how about what's not in there? The preservatives aren't in there.
Right.
The artificial colorings aren't in there.
Right.
And people have told me as I've gifted them the jellies or they've tasted them at my house that they have never tasted anything like that before. And often it's because the taste buds have gotten used to tasting the artificial ingredients, and they think that that's what a product is. Mm-hmm. And now, once again, I make it with organic sugar, and I put in half the amount that most people do. It is still a delicacy because it does have the organic sugar in it. However, life is short. Come on, it's okay. Have something fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be healthy, but it's okay. Like a little bit, you can, go into that.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you're not getting the junk in that.
Yeah.
And
that's the best way. We need sugar. The whole body runs on sugar. The brain needs sugar and oils and fats. We need fats. We need all that. But when you mix it with the plastic, like again last show, when those toxins get into our mitochondria and we don't get our energy, it's not because of the sugars as much as it's the combination of coating everything in the plastic goo. Yeah. So this is pretty cool. I'm excited.
I have a feeling this is going to be something because of everything that's going on with Monsanto and nobody now you're giving the rights to labeling to the companies. If they don't want to do it, that's it. And I remember I was telling my mom, go to the butcher, go to the local butcher, go to find out where your food is really coming, every ingredient.
Farmers market.
Oh my God, right here.
Plus, when I think another thing that Angela we haven't really tapped into is, when you have a mango tree, we all went through mango mania a month ago, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you see them rotting on the ground and you're just like, that could feed people, but we're not all selling them commercially. So canning, you just take all that and you save it, and you're just so much more food is savable, because I think that's the biggest sin. Don't waste food. I sound like my grandma, right?
That's right.
But they came out of World War II, and they're a can of food back then was a big deal. To get a ration that didn't go to the war, it was a huge deal. So
totally.
Okay, so let's talk about the scary thing. My grandmother stopped canning and my mother stopped canning because they were my grandmother had made all these tomato cans and they were having dinner. And all of a sudden, the house blew up, and it was like this boom, and everything's and there was a botulism drama. So what does that mean?
Now, it's very, very important. A lot of people are afraid of canning for that reason, because they've heard that you can create botulism in your canning, and that is absolutely true. So what I've found, and for friends and family that have been doing it for generations and generations, and they're comfortable with their recipes, and they're not going to be swayed, that's fine. However, if you're just starting out, I think it's really imperative to get a tried and true recipe, because what happens
that's what
with
you're going to teach
definitely
us.
A tried and true recipe.
No botulism.
No botulism here
on Wednesday night.
And so we'll know that the pH levels are correct, because it's when the pH level is off that the botulism can grow, and you can die. Let's just put it blunt. You can die, okay? That's just, bottom line. And also there's the process of sterilization. You want to make sure that everything is clean, and that's why you're boiling everything and you're cooking. But pH and cleanliness are very, very important, and having that tested recipe. So for instance, you have wonderful star fruit. I have never canned star fruit. So I will definitely research that to see if I can find a wonderful tested, because I don't want to go to jail.
Seriously.
So yeah.
No, we'll start it really simple.
Yes.
Tried and true recipes. And again, this is baby steps, guys. If we're going to do a revolution, it's not a huge takeover. It's just simple things that we do daily. And if you just can do 1 or 2 cans, out of something as simple as a seasonal fruit that's tried and true, there you go. Because if you bought a jam lately, they're like $8-9. It's for the
Especially if you even buy it organic. A lot of organic products are very expensive. So if you can be able to learn how to do this,
exactly,
you beat the middleman.
And there's some I don't know. We have cocoa plum as one of the beneficial plants that a lot of us have in our gardens, and you can take. Again, foods that you don't normally think of canning, and you can can and turn cocoa plum into a jam and all these other things that we just don't normally eat, but you mix them with a little sugar and they're really good. Again, we got to research it.
Exactly. And we can make the different fruits preserved without the sugar. However, I find, and I've done that, and I'll mix it in with my salad or save it so that I can create salad dressings or anything. However, there's that part of me that wants the decadence. And so I find that people get more excited about creating a jam or a jelly than, hey, I'm going to show you how to preserve that mango. I can do that too. I can teach that as well. However, taking those small steps, it seems like a lot of people, when they're taking their initial steps, it's like, well, let's do something fun and sweet, as opposed to, okay, we're just going to have a mango in a jar. But it can be done.
I don't have a sugar tooth, thank God, because it's like I like my oils and wine.
You are blessed. You are blessed. I got the sweet tooth.
But I want to can the salty, sour, the pickles and okra.
Pickles, yes.
And the summer vegetables, cucumbers, and it sounds so good. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
So again, our class, here is the address. It is at Guyama. The address is 11816 Northeast 6th Avenue, Biscayne Park, Florida, 33161. So if you guys go to my Facebook page or to catherineb.com, all the information will be there. The event starts at 5:30 with a complimentary garden tour, and then at 6:30 with a home tour of the sustainable house, and then our celebrity canning chef at 7:30. We will start, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. The other reason that I'm excited about canning and about these beehive events, Ms. Sunset is joining the Hive here, is that we're just going to show people these alternative food sources. So again, you can get out of the supermarkets, you can practice that revolutionary step, and you can stop buying into these companies, and you can stop putting these toxins into your children, and you can get nutritional value. I guarantee you that the value of an organic food, even if it's been in a can for 6 months, is going to be better than anything that's genetically modified, because there's just nothing left in the soil. And what is a plant without proper soil? It's like a human just eating plastic all day. The nutrition isn't there.
And what I can add is, when I'm canning or when you're canning, more than likely you're going to select, and this is the recommendation, is you're going to select fully ripened fruit, not rotten fruit with worms in it.
Oh, God, no.
Not green fruit, which I cannot say for sure that if it's produced commercially, that may happen. So I'm getting the best quality fruit in whatever it is, or vegetables in whatever it is that I've created. Because a lot of people think, oh, I have some rotten stuff. Here, you want to can this? No, I don't want to can your rotten stuff. If I'm going to save this and put it in my body and save it for a few months or a year or whatever, it really needs to be high quality to begin with. And so if you do it yourself, you know the quality that you're getting. And that's very important.
Wow, beautiful. I think, too, that we might talk about what we can out of the garden. Can you can like spinach? Do you do leaves or no? Is there a...
I have not seen that yet. There's a difference in the types of canning. There's the water bath canning, and then there's a canning with the high pressure within a pressure cooker.
Okay.
And a lot of the vegetables tend to need that high pressure because of their acidity. And I don't want to call it a specialty because it sounds so ooh la la. My love and my passion is the water bath.
Okay.
And so I've done pickles, I've done the salsas and chutneys and things like that, but I tend to do everything that I can do in a water bath.
When you see this garden, you guys had, Z had Diva Presence on last week, and Deva is our permaculture master. He is going to be giving the garden tour. It is his passion project for the last year, and this is a full permaculture garden with every permaculture technique and concept there. So when you see the amount of food everywhere, you're just, like I said, maybe we can water can all these wonderful, wonderful foods that you normally wouldn't eat. You'd just be amazed at the taste and the quality of them too. So,
may I ask a question?
Sure.
Now, say for instance, I was picking up a book called Permaculture for Dummies. What would the definition of permaculture be?
Well, permaculture came out of Australia 10, 15 years ago, and it's basically thinking into the future, the steps that you're making exactly at the moment, what repercussions they will do. And basically it's leaving the least carbon footprint on the earth, okay? Stepping away from fossil fuel, the chemical era, into an era of green consciousness. And that's what I teach at the Standard starting in September.
Yay!
Yay! But it is also what you do to your own body, being sustainable, living to be 130 years old, because that's what we could live. There are people in Nepal and the Himalayas that are 135. They don't even know it because, again, when we shift our paradigm and we start seeing human consciousness different than what we're conformed into, there's no limit to what we can believe and do and be. But who wants to be in a 130-year-old body if the mind is gone, if the spirit's gone?
Not me.
Forget it. Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I think we're going to take a video break and show you another problem that we have with these foods and why, again, taking control, because these foods are killing us and we got to join the revolution and take our power back.
Sex is natural. Sexual reproduction is how nature reproduces. Plants, birds and bees, corn. But in 1996, something new happened. They started to genetically engineer soy, corn, cotton, canola. They started taking genes from viruses and bacteria, putting it into a gun, shooting those genes into plates of cells, cloning those cells into crops, creating genetically engineered crops that produced their own toxic insecticide, that withstood doses of herbicide. And this they called progress. The process of genetic engineering itself caused massive collateral damages, causing an increase in known allergens, introducing new allergens, not to mention the insecticides. And this, we think, is the major cause of a lot of rise in a lot of diseases and disorders that we're seeing. So when we take people off of these genetically engineered foods, as thousands of doctors are doing now, they report people getting better from immune system problems, gastrointestinal problems, infertility, a whole host of diseases and disorders.
There's this counter-argument that we need to mess with our food in order to feed the world's growing population. That the only way we can meet these needs is to dump poisons on our land and degrade the quality and purity of our food sources so we could all be addicted to sugar and sheepishly accept rising healthcare costs.
GMOs generally reduce yield. One crop has found that increases yield by 0.3% per year, far less than natural selection could do. But when you look at what sustainable agriculture can do, they looked at more than 12 million farms in 50 countries, and they found it increased yield by 79%, and for staples like corn and potatoes, 100%. So this concept that we need to have genetically engineered monocultured agriculture in order to feed the world is actually working against feeding the world and taking money away from more appropriate solutions.
When we look at what sustainable agriculture is really based on, it's using a natural system and working and enhancing that natural system and cleansing that system of dangerous chemicals and compounds. Everything from what's in the air to what comes in the food has an impact on human health.
And what we're seeing now in the fields across the United States, now across the globe, is we're having a shift in something called the rhizosphere. It's the soil microbiome environment. Why is that important? We would not have life on this planet without microorganisms. You know, they form root nodules on plants, so then the plants can then interact with the minerals in the soil, take them into their own structures, and pull them up their stalks into their shoots, fruits, leaves. So if we can't get the minerals from the soil into the plants, we most definitely will have compromised nutrition in our end product.
And when we eat this nutritionally empty food that's lacking in so many important nutrients, we wind up eating more of it because our bodies are starving for the nutrients that aren't in the food in the first place.
Without healthy soil, we are lost. We have no idea what the intricate balance of life is in there. The soil has masterfully sprung forth life on this planet for millennia. Now, we're willing to allow the people who brought us DDT and Agent Orange to kill off the life on this planet and control our food supply?
So the quality of our food has been degrading over the years. So in sustainable agriculture, we work to build a system where nature can sustain itself. The next level of that we call agroecology, where it's an agricultural ecological system that works in harmony with nature rather than working against nature. The United Nations published a study in 2010 that said that if we switch the world to agroecological techniques on the same footprint of farming we have, we can double world food production and over about 10 years begin to heal all the excesses of the chemical era.
This comes from the United Nations. If the Frankenfood-sponsored media tells you otherwise, you may want to wonder why. Healing the excesses of the chemical era. That sounds good for the planet, and it certainly sounds good for our ailing bodies.
You've heard the word heirloom. Heirloom seeds are old-fashioned, open-pollinated seeds that were kept by man for many generations because they had unique flavor and they were very healthful. Now in our modern times, we have genetically modified seeds. Many times, those seeds cannot be reproduced. They're covered by contract. The farmer can't even save those seeds. And those seeds are only produced to have the effect of benefiting from not being killed by the chemicals that are sprayed on them. But what are they doing for our health? That's the unanswered question of our time.
What are they doing to our health? We don't even know yet. So again, part of this revolution is to just stop the madness, stop the sadness. If our government is not going to protect us from genetically modified food and the pesticides that are used to grow them, we have to take it into our own hands, just like this country started. It started with a revolution, and food is it. For you guys watching on YouTube, Joan is here, and she has got a revolutionary garden technique. So, Sunset, I know you said before that you didn't think you could grow. This is for you, girl.
Oh, it's like a tower.
It's a tower garden.
Hi, Joan.
Oh, my God.
So, we're going to give Joan a couple more minutes to set up, and I just want to continue talking about these alternatives. So this tower garden is fantastic because you don't even need soil. So it is something that you can have in your home. You can have it on a terrace. You can grow enough food to change your chemistry. Do you guys know what a methyl donor is? Have you heard of what a methyl? Okay. It is very influenced on the protein that surrounds the DNA. And the reason that organic green leafy vegetables are so important is that they're methyl donors. And all you need is like one collard leaf, which would make about a half a cup of a vegetable. And if you eat these 6 times a day, I mean, that's a lot of collards, but for example, you could do a collard leaf, you could do spinach, you could do moringa, you could do radicchio, you could do lettuce, and you can grow all of these really easily. Anybody can grow. Anybody can do it. Now, I know that you're like, well, why do I want to?
No, I think I've seen something like this before, but I've never she put it together and it was so easy and
yeah, I'm getting excited because I had some herbs out on my patio, and my husband, he walked out there and he was like, "What's that, death row?" Because he knew my reputation with, I don't have a green thumb, so I'm wondering if this could be something that could help me.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you see the tower, you can go as big or small. Have you been up to Disney World? Did you guys ever go to the land when you were kids and see the giant?
I used to live in Kissimmee for a little while, so yeah.
Well, the original people who started this company were the people that started understanding how to grow hydroponically, and then with the marijuana movement, everyone's gotten involved now. But it's pretty fascinating. So this is an alternative. Then there's other types of hydroponics. You can just, if you have water, if you have a pond, you can grow so many algae and spinach type foods. You can just eat so many things that you're not used to eating. And when you start doing this, you can get like really pure food and a lot of nutrition back into the body. So you don't have to go buy those burnt out vegetables at the superstore.
This is raw food at its best. My goodness, right?
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Look at that. All the roots are right.
Wow.
Fully intact.
Yeah.
So pretty.
It grows 30% more rapidly than conventional growing.
Well, Joan, wait, hold on 1 second. I'm going to set up your mic for you, and then I want to introduce Joan and the Tower Garden. Here we go.
That sounds like a great movie, Joan and the Tower Garden.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
It's great to be here.
So tell us why we should do this and how you got involved in this, and tell us everything.
Okay, well, I got involved because I was looking for an easy way of growing my own food.
Right.
I'm a New York City girl. I was clueless as to, what to do with growing. And I didn't like the idea of having to deal with dirt, and anything I tried to.
I'm a dirt girl. I miss my mud. I love my mud. I'm a dirt girl.
It's great for mud baths, but it's bad for the nails. But anyway, I couldn't grow anything. I have a black thumb. I couldn't even.
Everybody's got a black thumb.
Yeah, I couldn't even grow basil. So then I was introduced to the Tower Garden by Juice Plus. Which is an aeroponic vertical growing system. Just made sense to me. It takes up very little space. We're running out of space. The soil is contaminated. It's self-watering. It's very sustainable. And the plants grow 30% more rapidly than conventional growing.
What kind of plants can you grow? I see strawberry and chive. Is that onion?
No, this is actually garlic chives.
Okay.
Because that is a natural bug deterrent. And that's another great feature about the Tower Garden. Since it's above ground, it's less susceptible to pests. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so then you don't have to worry about doing any of the organic pesticides. You can
Right.
And so and the nutrition comes through.
Yes, it comes with, it's a fully equipped growing system. It comes with land minerals, 100% organic. There's nothing synthetic. The tower itself is food-grade plastic, so it's able to withstand the ultraviolet rays, especially here in South Florida. And it's also made in Central Florida, so it's American-made.
Nice.
What's the Disney connection again? Did I get that right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. The developer is Tim Blank, and he developed it while he was working at the land exhibition at Epcot.
Okay.
So as far as growing, you can grow everything in the tower, with the exception of root vegetables like potatoes and carrots and anything that grows on a tree like mangoes and bananas. But
don't try the moringa tree. Yes.
So.
Okay, and then when you assemble this, can you also take it apart if you're not? I mean, how hard is it to put together and take apart? You did that in like 5 minutes.
That's right. It's very easy. If I can do it, anyone can do it. It's assembled like a Lego set. It just snaps in.
Okay, and how big do the plants get? You said 30% more.
Yes, it grows 30% more rapidly. I'm still harvesting kale since last year, so from one plant, it just keeps it's just keeps growing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like you put like the water, like how does it like work? Like you put the water like in the middle of it and then it comes up, or
no? The reservoir, the tank, holds 20 gallons of water. You put the water together with the nutrients in the reservoir, and it comes with a pump. It does need electricity. It needs an electrical source.
Solar. You got to get them to
I
the
know,
solar.
I
That's
know.
the next step.
That's right. Absolutely. We're working on that. So, and it also comes with a timer. So the pump pumps the water from the reservoir into the center of the tower and then cascades over the roots of the plants.
Yeah, that's what I need. I'm a city girl too. I'm from New York too, and then like now I'm getting in touch with all these people who are into gardening and all that. And I'm like, I'm from the concrete jungle.
Yeah, exactly. Holla.
But that's why I wanted Joan on, because I love the dirt, I love the soil, I love the bugs and the worms, and you're not going to get that with this. But guys, this is a start, and then if you want to transition into Mud Woman, we'll talk later. No, it's wonderful. I just want to read Joan's bio really quick too, because you do more than just tower gardening. I met her several times, but at the March Against Monsanto, and Joan Dengler.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm
You're
totally
thinking of the
just
Mobster.
And this is Angeila Bryan.
Yes.
For those that know me, if you've come to my yoga class, I'm completely dyslexic. I guess it's a creative mind, but anyway, apologize. It's a thing of love. Okay, so Joan is a food safety activist and a proponent of the GMO labeling, environmental, and advocate for the 3 R's: reduce, recycle, and reuse, which is the core of sustainability. Joan also teaches individuals how to grow their own food and without soil with the Tower Garden. So what do you think about what happened? We've been talking about how this revolution that we're in, this fighting the governments and the powers that be, and that how all these transitional companies are now calling themselves farmers while they're putting real farmers out of business and basically killing them by forcing them to use these seeds and pesticides.
Right.
I was saying that I don't believe that fighting the system is as effective as just simply stopping buying produce in these commercial stores and seeing other food alternatives that you can get nutritional value from, canning your food, growing your food. I mean, what do you see in the future? What do you see with the GMO problem that we're having now? Do you feel that I feel that we're winning. I don't feel in America we're winning, but I feel that globally we are winning. A little discouraged over this week.
Yes, with the DARK Act and the House of Representatives passing it. But, you know, the fight continues. It goes on to the Senate. So we just have to be diligent. People are becoming more aware of what we eat.
You see it everywhere. McDonald's are closing.
Yes.
Organic can't stay in the shelves. I mean, there's a huge thing in the meat industry, too. Genetically modified animals. It's just as bad as plants. Things are changing, but we need to make them change quicker. So what can you recommend? What can you recommend to get people on the revolution bandwagon? How can you recommend them to take the power back? And I always say that it's a consumer thing. We vote with every dollar we spend or don't spend. Because if we would all stop spending, we could bring down the top 6, the big 6 companies.
Hit them in their bottom line,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what it's all about. It's all about the mighty dollar.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just refuse to purchase, their products and grow your own.
Grow your own, man. Grow your own. So can I ask, what is the bottom line cost on a small setup?
Okay, the cost is $575, which includes shipping. But the Juice Plus company offers it on the easy payment plan, interest-free, $45 a month.
Which is cheaper than a grocery
plants.
Yeah.
20 plants, and it's paid off in a year.
Beautiful.
So you break it down, it's like $2.25 a plant that you're eating for months.
So what can you grow that you can?
That's right. I was thinking,
strawberries.
Wow, yeah, I could
Asparagus.
I was just thinking of pulling a chair up and start eating.
Right?
Yeah, just start eating away.
And it's nice to look at, right? It's very attractive.
Yeah, no, it's different. It's like architecture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's state of the art.
Yeah, no, this is what we need to have. Like, for instance, like where I live is like, there's it's a condo, but there's so much grass, and I would love to like do like a garden there, but then I feel bad because like all the kids from the neighborhood come and play, and so I don't want to take that away from them. But this will be a good substitute. Like, okay, we won't mess with the grass. You guys can do what you want, but let's you know have like a building, like everybody in the building can like contribute to it. Somewhere.
So the revolutionary challenge this week, last week it was to stop drinking water, especially from plastic, is grow something. Grow an inspiration, grow a thought, grow a seed. Go and find an organic seed and experiment with one of these would be great, or just a little pot, but try to grow something. Start seeing food as something that you can not have problems with, and to connect to it and to start realizing that you can grow. And once you start realizing that you can grow, and there's so many wonderful, wonderful ways to do it, then you can control and cook and save money and celebrate food, because food is culture, gardening is culture, and it's got to be something that you're not afraid of doing.
Right. And it's fun and very rewarding. There's nothing like having your own farmer's market right outside your door.
Yeah.
You know, and it's vine ripened.
Way.
It's vine ripened. What you get in the store is not vine ripened, because they have to ship it, transport it. So here you're also cutting down on, it's actually eliminating fossil fuels,
which
because
is
you're growing it right on site.
Yeah, that's a key to it too. And there's nothing more rewarding than just, going outside and picking and getting creative with what you have. And also, when I tower gardened, I did my own version. I kind of made my own. I was really impressed by the freshness. There was like a very lightness to it, but the taste was really, really beautiful of my vegetables.
Yes, it's powerful.
I might have to start doing one, but again, I've got enough soil for.
You like the worms and the bugs.
That's right. You like the mud.
I'm an earth girl. I'm an earth girl. And,
which I think is really great, because so often when change is needed, it can be met with resistance. And one of the things that a person could say why I don't want to grow my own is, well, I don't want to play in the dirt. Well, look, now you can do it that way.
Right.
Or if someone says, oh, well, I don't want to deal with plastic. Well, then do it in the dirt.
Right.
So I think it's awesome to have Joan here to show that there are different ways.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's more than one way to skin a cat, but I don't like that.
I don't like the one about the chicken like stretching the head, because I'm my girls.
Yeah, let's not say that. Yeah.
So, Joan, we're going to have to do a Be a Hive event with you, and we're going to have to do a whole demo, okay? So I'd love to get you involved in the Be Hive events. So, everyone, thank you so much. Again, your revolutionary tip is start to grow, take back your power, and save Mother Earth and your well-being at the same time in this generation. Join us Wednesday on North Miami Beach and learn how to can. And then join us back at SoFlo Radio next Friday for Ocean and Water. Okay, we have Jim from 350 Climate Change coming on, and it's going to be another really interesting show of how you can get better protein out of water than you can out of the animals that are now so infected and toxic. So Thank you again, Joan.
Thank you.
Angela.
Thank you.
George and Sunset. We have had a wonderful time.
Yes.
It's been great.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. Mwah.